generation. I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital. I really look forward to the now familiar Republic agility when it comes to reporting the news, in-depth analysis, as well as investigative reportage, and of course, your famous debates with Arnav. It's going to be exciting days ahead, and I'm sure you're all ready for it. And we, the viewers, are ready to see what you've got for us. So all the best, Republic, on going digital.
I was delighted to learn that Republic TV is going digital this July. They have made nationalism and patriotism so very popular with the people of India. But I'm sure in the times to come, they will also transform the narrative at the regional and the global level. I wish Republic TV all the very best. Jai Hind!
6 years of this journey at Republic has been spectacular, and now that you're going digital, I'm sure you will disrupt this industry and become the front runner in all things digital news in India. I wish Republic the best of luck, and I'm sure you guys will kill it here.
Republic Media is entering into digital platform for the very first time in July. After doing pioneering work in mainstream media, digital, which is the way forward of this generation, I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital. I really look forward to the now familiar Republic agility when it comes to reporting the news, in-depth analysis, as well as investigative reportage, and of course, your famous debates with Arnav. It's going to be exciting days ahead, and I'm sure you're all ready for it. And we, the viewers, are ready to see what you've got for us. So all the best, Republic, on going digital.
I was delighted to learn that Republic TV is going digital this July. They have made nationalism and patriotism so very popular with the people of India. But I'm sure in the times to come, they will also transform the narrative at the regional and the global level. I wish Republic TV all the very best. Jai Hind!
6 years of this journey at Republic has been spectacular, and now that you're going digital, I'm sure you will disrupt this industry and become the front runner in all things digital news in India. I wish Republic the best of luck, and I'm sure you guys will kill it here.
Republic Media is entering into digital platform for the very first time in July. After doing pioneering work in mainstream media, digital, which is the way forward of this generation, I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital. I really look forward to the now familiar Republic agility when it comes to reporting the news, in-depth analysis, as well as investigative reportage, and of course, your famous debates with Arnav. It's going to be exciting days ahead, and I'm sure you're all ready for it. And we, the viewers, are ready to see what you've got for us. So all the best, Republic, on going digital.
Ever since we launched in 2017, we've been India's #1 news channel, and then we became India's #1 news network. Today we operate the #1 channels in English, in Hindi, and in Bangla, and we're going to expand across India and hopefully very soon to the entire world. Now, this journey cannot be complete without us entering the digital news medium in a stronger, effective and well-planned way. And I'm delighted to share with you, with all of you, our support base, our viewers, our followers, and people who are really part of Republic, that yes, Republic, India's #1 on television, is now coming on digital. This July, Republic will be on digital.
From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
The Debate at 9, presented by Amity University, powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, in partnership with Mind Super App and Beyond.
Hello and welcome. There's been politics played over the wrestlers' protest. Questionable political elements have entered, and they all have just one demand: arrest Brij Bhushan Singh. But looking at the developments in the last 24 hours, we have just one question. Was there an attempt to manipulate the wrestlers? Why then did a minor's father withdraw the complaint? Why is he admitting that it was fake? That's our biggest debate tonight. I'm Niranjan and I'm filling in for Arnab, who will be back on the show on Monday. We have three big debates on the show, and here's debate number one. Our top focus on that admission as the wrestlers' case takes an extremely serious turn. That's our focus. And debate number two at 10 p.m. Abhishek with a debate on the attempt to change the syllabus. Governments have changed. They're trying to change history now. What's the priority? That's at 10 p.m. And at 10 p.m., no action on those who paraded a float glorifying the assassination of Indira Gandhi. Canada hasn't acted, hasn't apologized either. That's at 10:30 p.m. Here are the headlines this Friday evening. There's a big twist in the case against Brij Bhushan. A minor wrestler's father says he filed a false complaint against the WFI chief. Questions raised if wrestler's family was tutored in order to manipulate a legitimate protest.
Process has been done in the interest of children's future, that this particular change will be done.
Karnataka government set to change textbook and chapters, lessons on RSS found to be purged. Pressure mounts on Trudeau government to act against Khalistani elements on Canadian soil.
के होम मिनिस्टर देवेंद्र फडणवीस बोले ये औरंगजेब की औलाद। अच्छा आपको पूरे मालूम तो फिर ये गोडसे की औलाद कौन है बोलो हमको।
As polarization over Aurangzeb continues, Owaisi fires Godse ki aulad attack. It's speaking in Maharashtra. As Ukraine talks of a counter-offensive, Vladimir Putin confirms moving nuclear missiles to Belarus within a month. Well, the wrestlers' protest has taken a very, very serious turn in the last 24 hours. While the investigation is on by the Delhi police, a complainant who happens to be the father of one of the wrestlers, a minor, has admitted that he filed a false case. And if a fake case was filed, why was it done? At whose behest was the fake case filed? and who tried to tutor vulnerable wrestlers into pushing fake charges. Here's the story so far and the debate.
A full investigation into the allegations of wrestlers is underway. The protests have been halted in the interim.
लगभग 6 घंटे चली इस बैठक में और रेसलिंग फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया का चुनाव 30 जून तक किया जाए और उसकी अध्यक्षता कोई महिला करे और खिलाड़ियों ने कहा है कि वो चाहते हैं कि 15 जून तक चार्जशीट दायर हो और वो भी अपना कोई भी इस पर प्रदर्शन या उनसे जुड़े हुए कोई भी संगठन उनके समर्थक हैं वो भी कोई प्रदर्शन नहीं करेंगे.
An international referee Jagbir Singh has said that he has witnessed Brij Bhushan make female wrestlers uncomfortable with his actions.
जो फोटो सेशन हो रहा था तो सभी खिलाड़ी भी मेहमान भी वो सभी इकट्ठे हुए तो एक लड़की जो ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह के साथ में और चीफ कोच उनके साथ में खड़ी थी वो वहाँ से छिटपटा करके आई वहाँ पे बड़बड़ाती मुझे यहाँ नहीं खड़ा होना ये बात करते हुए जब आई हमने ऐसा देखा कि जहाँ पर लड़की को नहीं छूना चाहिए वहाँ से उन्होंने उनको छुआ था इसलिए वो लड़की वहाँ से छुड़वा करके वहाँ से आई और दूसरे स्थान पर आकर के फोटो पूरा करवाया उसने.
But in a major twist, it appears one of the cases was falsely filed. The father who filed a sexual harassment complaint leading to an FIR filed under POXCO has now backtracked.
नहीं अभी आप लोगों ने जैसे ये जो स्टार्टिंग में आपने जो चार्जेस लगाए थे कि हमारे बच्चे के साथ ऐसा हुआ तो आप खुद ही गए क्योंकि ये हुआ तो सारा रेसलर्स के प्रोटेस्ट शुरू होने के बाद में.
हाँ तो रेसलर का प्रोटेस्ट था जब उनके साथ गलत हुआ गलत मेरे साथ भी हुआ था
जी
तो इसलिए तो मेरा पूरा था.
तो फिर आपने फिर वापस क्यों ले लिया ये सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट वाला केस.
जिस टाइम को कुश्ती खराब हुई तो जो ऑफिशियल थी उन्होंने मना कर दिया कि कोई कार्रवाई नहीं है आपको कुश्ती लड़ा नहीं जाओ यहाँ से.
ठीक है
फिर क्या करेगा आदमी.
ठीक है तो वो उस चीज का गुस्सा आपके मन में था.
बिल्कुल था सर वो होना ही छोटी सी चीज है क्या ये.
The sequence of events has raised questions on whether some have tried to Twitter wrestlers to file false charges. Let's debate.
Joining us on the debate this evening are Subrashta, columnist, author, Deshrata Nigam, Savio Rodriguez, Kapil Madan, Brinda Adige and Dr. Piyush Joshi. Let me start with you, Subrashta, and again Brinda Adige as well. What's going on? You know, when a father of this minor wrestler says, Subrashta, and he has said that he leveled a false, and his exact words are, I leveled a false sexual harassment allegation against the WFI chief and BJP MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh because I wanted revenge for my daughter's rejection in the Under-17 Asian Championship. He's on record saying it, right? We are not saying that the wrestlers' protest is not genuine. We are with the wrestlers. They should get justice. But do you think someone else is calling the shots, manipulating other vulnerable wrestlers here? I'll get in Subrashta and get Brinda to respond to her.
Niranjan, we have always maintained, I think Republic as a group has always maintained that, you guys are with the wrestlers, and so have I always said that anybody who will listen to the plight of these wrestlers, whatever they've suffered in the past, will stand with them, and so should the nation stand with them. But I've also maintained that the usual suspects are behind supporting this entire protest. And when these usual suspects creep in, Niranjan, there is always gross politicization of a very sensitive issue. It has happened in the past. It is happening this time too. Now, what do we make out of this allegation? What do we make out of this confession? These are questions that will always haunt the genuine protesters who have been sitting there and who have been, sitting there and protesting for far too long now. Now, I have shared stage with Brinda in the past also. We have been on panel discussions in the past as well. Now, Brinda, please tell me, don't you think that these usual suspects weaken every movement that they become a part of, that they unnecessarily politicize an issue, and they politicize it to an extent that there is no redemption after that? You can't go back to the original story. You cannot go back to the original demand. because so many corrupt practices, so many corrupt strategies creep in, and then the credibility of the movement is lost.
Brinda,
I beg to differ. I beg to differ over here on two issues. One, the father says that he was angry and he wanted revenge, and so he went and filed the case. But there is a 164 statement that the victim survivor has made before the magistrate. Now that cannot be refuted. Now the statement has not been made public, but don't you think we need to wait and watch and then see what is going to be the outcome? Two, every time when there is a case registered, especially against perpetrators of sexual abuse and sexual assault, especially people in positions of authority and power, victim witness protection is paramount. Why is it paramount? It is because the protection is required for the victim survivor and the family so that they are not threatened to retract. Now the protest has been going on for a very long time. Why today does this father come out and say something like this? So I would love to have the police investigate on this matter. And talking about the protests, and if some people come and tell lies, does the protest weaken its stance? In principle, is the protest required? Is it true? I think we need to look at the entire issue of the case is not something that came in the last 6 months. From 2016, there are cases that have been filed, complaints that have come against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. What has the justice system done to date? And it is not 1 or 2, it's 19.
Are there bigger forces at play,
cases.
Brinda, are there bigger forces at play? Are there bigger forces? I'll tell you what he has said.
Very big, very powerful, very influential forces at play.
On the other side
and
also.
We need to take that into consideration.
On the side of the wrestlers also, I'll tell you why. His words are, he says he's coming clean. Now, he was asked that question on why he's speaking out now, why he did it in the first place. He says, I'm coming clean now because it's better that the truth comes out now and not in the court. And he says, he decided to do it because it was because of his daughter's defeat during the trials last year. And that is why he decided to take revenge and file the false complaint against the WFI chief. He says, I didn't want to get caught in court, and that's why I spoke out. And let me tell you, that's the breaking news update. I'll pull out the right bite. The grandfather of this wrestler has also spoken to Republic TV. He makes some very, very serious allegations, almost hinting that these wrestlers, or some of them, I'm not saying all of them, at least some of them were tutored. Deshwata Nigam, is that a possibility? Some of them, I'm not saying all.
Abhishek, when a matter goes before a judge, he does not believe or disbelieve anybody. He goes by the record and the evidence. And the first evidence that goes before the court is the delay in filing the FIR, which is quite fatal to the case. And certainly then the suspicion arises in the mind of court whether there are possible motives now that the case has been filed. This is, I'm telling you, the legal position without taking any sides. Now, secondly, the goalposts have been shifting. Initially, it was the resignation of the Brij Bhushan Singh. Then certainly the FIR got lodged through the intervention of the court. Then the question arose about the arrest of him. Under the POCSO, there are two aspects. One, if the punishment is up to 7 years, then there is a process in the CRPC where a person can only be arrested when a notice of appearance is given, and if he cooperates, then he will not be arrested. And then even then the police wants to arrest him, there has to be a reasons recorded in writing and applied to the court also. And once, whether he has given those reasons for police to arrest him, nothing in public domain as of now. Not a single iota that he's tampering with the witness, or he's influencing anybody, or is not cooperating with the investigation. Twice he has been interrogated after notice of appearance has been given to him. WFI staff has also been done. Secondly, the retraction which has been done, it has been done before the court, before a judicial magistrate under 164, where the judicial magistrate clearly explains to the person that is there any force applied to you, or is there any coercion that you are doing?
Does it also? Is it a question also? Is it a relevant question also to ask?
Can I
Yes, Kapil. Kapil, it's the minor wrestler's father, right? Obviously, when a case is filed under POCSO, arrest was required. So that was one of the demands, right? That he should be arrested. All of you said he should be arrested. Now, if he's retracted that, if he's retracted that, and he also says that they were asked to do it. And I'm coming to that part next. Were they under pressure? Who advised the father to file a fake case, Kapil?
Niranjan, let me give a very quick response. I think Mr. Deshratan Nigam has raised, important legal point, albeit erroneously, because none of his argument applies in this case. So now, let me tell you how, the scheme works. Whenever a complaint under POCSO or sexual harassment is filed, there is a presumption in favor of the girl that whatever she has stated, she has, said the truth. Insofar as, the statement by the father is concerned, you may recall, the wrestlers have filed the complaint somewhere around 21st of April. Now we are, in almost June, no charge sheet has been filed. Now, why in these kind of cases an arrest is important is because you want to ensure that the witness does not get intimidated. There is a proper investigation and there is no threat or any kind of, overt circumstances that are created which may put the victim or the witnesses under pressure to make statement like this. Now, even otherwise, now let me tell you one more thing. Even otherwise, if the statement of the father is true, I am only for the sake of argument, in that event also, the court, the trial court, the police cannot do anything, and it is only the high court under the inherent jurisdiction.
Is it safe to say that there was an attempt to get him arrested even before?
No.
Is it safe to say there was an attempt to arrest him even before the investigation?
No. Niranjan, all I'm saying is, if the defense raised by Brij Bhushan Singh is that the father has made this statement, I would say that you should now take this material to the High Court and get a case quashed. That is not so.
Correct.
I mean, that is not so. You have a case where there are multiple victims.
The most important
multiple
thing,
victims have made the statements. So the point I'm trying to make here, the fact that you are causing this unreasonable delay. No, Savio, let me complete. And then you can respond. Allow me to just finish my point.
Go ahead.
Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that you have to conclude the investigation as soon as possible. We are witnessing that a person who is an accused, he appears in the media, he makes all kind of, different statements. He was also an attendee in the parliament inauguration function. You can't rule out that the person, is an influential person and he has a potential of influencing the witnesses and the course of justice. So in that situation, I will not give any kind of credence to the statement made by the father.
But they wouldn't have gone. But if he's speaking now, Kapil, if he's speaking now, he wouldn't have just done it, right, Savio? Would he have just done it? Would he have just gone and filed a complaint without somebody advising him?
Case of influencing the witness.
No, did somebody advise him? Obviously, they must have been advised, right?
The most. See, there are two aspects to this entire case. One is the element of truth, and the other one being the element of forged or false truth, which has been around. But the most important thing in this entire case, I keep coming back to, is the complaint that was filed by the minor and the others for sexual harassment. So the first thing that ought to have been done when a POCSO has been filed is that Brij Bhushan should have been arrested. That is when the investigation would have gone further. Also, the Delhi police completely missed the entire case by taking a long time to file the FIR. Now, today, even if the father is making the statement and the case might be false, it still has to go the entire process of the investigation. That is when the court will decide whether a statement is right or whether a statement is wrong, and then penal charges will come against them. The point is, why at the onset of the entire allegation was the Delhi police slow in taking the appropriate steps that are necessary in investigating cases of sexual abuse that have been alleged? It does not matter whether he was an MP or a religious leader or a celebrity. The point is, there has been a complete failure from the Delhi police itself. And that is the problem, where the genesis of the problem starts. So today, let's even assume that the entire thing is false. How does one arrive at a conclusion? It has to continue in the court. to prove that this is false. So where were they played? I don't know. Was the father?
But can you rule out the possibility?
It is a false case.
But can you rule out the possibility
in the first place?
But can you rule out the possibility? Can you rule out the possibility, Brinda?
I'm not the investigating authority.
The charges are serious.
Authority.
But look at the characters. Look at the characters. Deshwadhar Nigam, look at the characters. You have this Beam Army chief who's come there. You have Rakesh Tikait who's come there. You have this Naresh Tikait or whoever else. All these guys, the same guys who were at Singhu who've come there, right? What is the guarantee that someone, perhaps from a legal background or someone who is influential did not tutor them to file this fake case?
Abhishek, the kind of narebazi that had taken place out there.
Niranjan, why would they have to be tutored?
Why do they what? Why? What are you saying, Savio?
Why would they have to be tutored?
No, I'm saying, what is the guarantee that they were not tutored?
Why would they have to be tutored and why should be
Niranjan, look at the chronology of events.
Let me
what
answer
is the
that,
guarantee
Abhishek.
that they were?
On a lighter note, Niranjan, for a moment you've got Savio wrongly on the left side. You should be on the right side today.
No, it's okay. He's also saying that there's an investigation needed. It's okay. We're all on the same page, but we're just questioning these questionable characters who are best friends of the Congress party. Yes, go ahead.
We're on the same side. We want
Yes, Abhishek. Abhishek, one thing is very important here. The excessive politicization that has taken place, and especially the kind of narebazi that was going on, Modi Teri Kabr Khudegi, and the anti-India Azadi slogans also, some of the people who went there and probably trying to manipulate the protest, and many channels showed it. Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt, Kapil. You are a lawyer. You have that much of sense.
Sir, how is Mr. Modi relevant here? I didn't
because the politicians out there raised their slogans. Because the politicians out there raised those slogans. That is why it has become irrelevant. Because it has been manipulated.
None of the panelists
please don't interrupt. I don't like to debate Kapil like that. Kapil, you know that.
None of the
panelists. I never interrupt. Please do not interrupt while I'm speaking.
Mr. Nigam, you got it miserably wrong today. I know you have a very hard case to defend. You have a gone case to defend.
Otherwise, you will be speaking like a stupid person. Listen to me first, and then you will be able to answer me properly.
Mr. Nigam, the point is,
that's a lawyer's first prerogative to listen to the other side and then answer. Don't act like a juvenile lawyer. You're not a fresher. You're not a fresher.
Mr. Nigam,
you're not a fresher.
Mr. Nigam, that's my primary grievance with you because you didn't hear me. You didn't hear any of the panelists.
That took place out
you
there
are talking about politics. We are talking about justice.
Trying to take undue advantage of the entire this
no one talked
protest.
about Mr. Modi.
And let me also tell you the shifting in goalposts that has happened here from initial arrest to FIR, then WFI president has to be a woman, then the kins and others should not be a part, should never contest the election. Under what law can you stop the person from contesting the elections? I fail to understand. These are demands which have been completely shifting. And the way the goalposts are shifting clearly gives a neutral person like me a sense of suspicion. Similarly, like the delay in filing FIR gives a suspicion to the court to find out about the possible motives other than the actual offense, to note down as to, and the law is very clear. And if this complaint comes out to be false, there is a provision for malicious prosecution.
Now, what are the consequences?
2 years imprisonment.
What are the consequences if this turns out to be in court? Let me get in Piyush Joshi. Piyush Joshi, it's Subrashta back. What are the consequences if it turns out, and if the court admits this, right? Deshwadhar Nigam legally, right? What are the consequences if it is proven that they were forced to do it, they were manipulated perhaps to go and file a false sexual harassment case?
Now,
Piyush.
Niranjan, can I just ask another question? What are the consequences if all the complaints are proven to be true?
You should arrest him.
If the victim, just hear me out. I remained calm and cool for almost 24 minutes now. So what I'm trying to say, and what if the victim was actually intimidated and threatened? If we look at it from that perspective, then everything seems to fall in place. As far as the politicization of the issue is concerned, you remember when the protest initially started, the wrestlers themselves turned down the politicians visiting to join their protest.
Then why did they accept it when they joined in? Why did they accept it when they joined in?
Because the government was totally unwilling to hear them out. The Delhi police was not even registering an FIR. So you will take help from whichever corner it comes. Because the government, which is supposed to hear you out, which is supposed to protect the pride of the nation, is refusing to do so. So the wrestlers are not only fighting Mr. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh and the WFI, the wrestlers are fighting the Delhi police as well as the Union Home Ministry as well, because they refuse to lend an ear to them. And that is why you accept help from whichever corner it comes. And the politicization began then. Now, at prima facie, all the lawyers would agree that the arrest should have been made till now. If the arrest is not even made, even if the FIR is registered after the Supreme Court's instruction, I don't know what you are talking about.
Deshotan is saying something. What are you saying, Deshotan?
Everything else. Just talk from the human angle. Just talk from the human angle and nothing else.
There is a law changed by the Congress government in 2008.
Nigam
there is a law which has been changed by the Congress government in 2008.
According to the law of the land, he should have been arrested till now, before he had an opportunity to threaten the victim.
No,
listen to me
I'm not saying it happened. I'm not saying it happened, but Subrashta, I'm not saying it happened. But what if they were advised? What if they were advised? I don't know. I'm sure it may have happened. It didn't. It may have not happened. What if they were advised to do it, hoping that if it is filed under POCSO, there would be an arrest, or would help their case, and they've been demanding an arrest, right? What if it was done for an arrest? Subrashta, can you rule out that possibility?
No, you cannot rule out that possibility, Niranjan. As I said, that this protest began on a note where I think the entire country was behind the protesters and the wrestlers. But today the situation is such that every move that will be taken will be looked at with a tinge of suspicion from either side of the political aisle, of either side of the political spectrum. This is exactly what I've been talking about, and Brinda has been vociferously against my statement. But the point is that the protests today have become too politicized for any one of us to take any stand in a big way. And this is all because the kind of politicians who crept into this entire protest and have...
So they're investigating.
Sir, please do not try to put words into my mouth, because I'm not going... No, I am...
Complete your point, Subrashta.
Yes, of course the Delhi police has taken a stand now. Yes. Of course, the Delhi police has taken a stand. Of course, the wrestlers have met the Home Minister. The Home Minister said that a fresh probe will be done, a just probe would be done. All of that, it's all a matter of public record. What I am just trying to say is that the kind of people who have crept into the movement now and have been trying to take political mileage out of it, it has weakened the credibility of the movement to a great extent. And people like us who have been vociferously talking in favor of the wrestlers today are a little wary, are a little shifty, are a little cautious in maintaining a stand now. It's as simple as that.
I have on the show, joining us right now, someone who's made a very serious allegation today, and he's joining me on the show, and I want all our panelists to listen to him very carefully, because you can't completely discount all these voices, versions that are coming in. I have with me international referee joining us, who spoke out earlier, right? And he made some very, very serious charges, and he claimed that he's been a witness to it. Jagbir Singh ji, आवाज आ रही है मेरी?
हाँ जी, आ रही है।
आप अभी क्यों बात कर रहे हैं जगबीर सिंह जी? आप इससे पहले बात क्यों नहीं की इस बारे में?
मैं किससे करता, कोई प्रोटेस्ट करता तो ही बात करता ना मैं।
आप इसके बारे में कंप्लेंट कभी की है? आपने क्या देखा, जरा बताइए हमारे दर्शकों को।
देखिए, मैं 2007 से UWW का रेफरी हूं।
ओके।
और जब ब्रजभूषण सिंह जी जो 2012 में भारतीय कुश्ती के प्रेसिडेंट बने, तब पहली बार विदेश गए थे, कजाकिस्तान अलमाटी में। तो हम ये सोच रहे थे कि भारतीय कुश्ती को एक बहुत बड़ा फाइनेंसर और एक अच्छा अध्यक्ष मिला है, लेकिन जब 2013 थाईलैंड पुकेट में जो इन्होंने प्रकरण किया, वो एक बहुत बुरा प्रकरण किया इन्होंने।
क्या किया?
जूनियर टीम ने वहां पर फ्री स्टाइल में चैंपियनशिप जीती थी और लड़कियों का ने भी अपनी प्रतियोगिता में तीसरा स्थान प्राप्त किया था। तो ब्रजभूषण और उनके आदमियों ने वहां पर इंडियन फूड की व्यवस्था की कि सभी टीम के खिलाड़ियों को इंडियन फूड का डिनर करवाएंगे आज। तो वहां पर ये फुल ड्रिंक करके आए, दारू पी के आए, ये खुद और इनके
कौन दारू पी के आया? सॉरी बताइए।
ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह।
ओके।
और बच्चियों के साथ बहुत ऐसो बनिए, बहुत भद्दा तरीके से बच्चियों को अपने गले से लगाना, उन पे हाथ रखना कि आप बहुत अच्छी कुश्ती लड़ी, आप बहुत अच्छे पहलवान बनोगे, आपको क्या चीजों की जरूरत है, ऐसा उनके साथ व्यवहार किया। और कुछ बच्चियां तो बीच में ही डिनर को छोड़ के अपने रूम में वापस चली गई।
ये आप
2013 का प्रकरण है।
ऑफिशियली क्या आप अभी जो बात कर रही है लाइव डिबेट पर, आप ऑफिशियल कंप्लेंट क्यों नहीं किया अभी तक? और क्या और अब
करें? एक बात बताइए, हम किसको कंप्लेंट करें?
अभी जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है, क्या अभी भी आप जाके पुलिस को कंप्लेंट दे सकते हैं?
पुलिस सुनिए मेरी बात।
क्यों नहीं सुनेंगे आपकी बात?
20 मई को पुलिस मेरे पास पहुंची थी पटियाला में। मैंने पुलिस को ये कहा कि आप क्या जानकारी चाहते हैं। उन्होंने एक फोटो दिखाया, हम इस फोटो के बारे में जानकारी चाहते हैं।
कौन सा फोटो?
उसकी जानकारी मैंने बता दी। तो मैंने कहा कि आप और भी कुछ जानकारी लेना चाहते हैं क्या? बोले नहीं, हमारे को तो आपके बयान ही से एक फोटो के बारे में चाहिए थे। ठीक है, कोई पूछे ना कि तो हम गले में तख्ती लटका के घूमे क्या? मैं अपने बयान देना चाहता हूँ
ना। किसका फोटो दिखाया आपको? किसका फोटो और क्या फोटो था वो?
25 मार्च 2022 को लखनऊ में एक ट्रायल हुई थी। उस ट्रायल के बाद, जब ट्रायल खत्म होने के बाद फोटो सेशन होता है, जो बच्चे फर्स्ट आए हैं, जो अधिकारी वहां पहुंचे हुए हैं, उनका एक फोटो होता है। वो फोटो देख के उन्होंने बताया कि यहाँ पर कोई एक्सीडेंट हुआ था। मैंने बता दिया कि यहाँ पर ऐसा एक्सीडेंट हुआ था कि एक लड़की जो प्रेसिडेंट और जो चीफ कोच था उनके नजदीक खड़ी थी और वो वहां से एकदम छटपटा के भागी और दूसरे स्थान पर खड़े होकर के उसने फोटो सेशन पूरा करवाया। और मैंने खुद अपनी आंखों से देखा कि जहां पर लड़की को नहीं छूना चाहिए, अध्यक्ष जी ने लड़की के उन अंगों पे हाथ लगाया।
Now these are very serious allegations. Now हमारे साथ कई और पैनलिस्ट भी जुड़े हुए हैं। आप उनसे भी बात कीजिए थोड़ा। देशरत्न निगम, what Jagbir Singh ji is saying, it's extremely serious. He says that he's a witness, right? Can he go and approach the police now? Can he go and approach the police now and make an official complaint?
Yes. इनको शायद मालूम नहीं है कानून में। इनको ये अभी भी जा सकते हैं, कंप्लेंट कर सकते हैं पुलिस में। पुलिस तो अपनी एक पर्टिकुलर कार्रवाई के लिए इनके पास गई थी और वो फोटो लेके गए, जो भी एविडेंस लेके गए, इनसे पूछने गए थे। लेकिन जो एक्चुअली इनका जो कहना है कि पुलिस को अपनी तख्ती लगा के घूमेंगे, ऐसा नहीं। आप जाइए, पुलिस में कंप्लेंट करिए, नहीं मानती है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जैसे अभी FIR कराई है, आपके एक नए केस में भी FIR करा देंगे। उसमें तफ्तीश होगी, इन्वेस्टिगेशन होगा। अगर आप जैसा बोल रहे हैं जो सीरियस है, तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद चार्जशीट पे सारी चीजें आएंगी और उसके बाद जितनी सजा है पॉक्सो की, जो भी सेक्शन लगे हैं उसके अंदर उनको सजा मिलेगी। अभी तक जो सेक्शन लगे हुए हैं, सेक्शन 10 के ऊपर लगा है, उसमें 7 साल की सजा है और उसमें अरेस्ट नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि 2008 में बदलाव कानून में किया था कांग्रेस ने, एक सेक्शन 41A ले आए थे। उसमें जब तक 7 साल की सजा है तब तक नहीं होगा।
जगबीर सिंह जी, आप ये बोल रहे हैं कि अब एटलीस्ट दो बार आपने विटनेस की है, 2 इंस्टेंसेस, राइट? एटलीस्ट 2
जी, 2 एक्सीडेंट, 2 बार। वो 2013 में एक एक्सीडेंट हुआ था और ये 2022 में हुआ है।
आप अभी भी पुलिस को ये कंप्लेंट ऑफिशियली दे सकते हैं।
22 वाला तो आप कर सकते हैं, 22 वाला तो आप कर सकते हैं फौरन जाके।
चलो देखेंगे
तो ज्यादा डिले नहीं है।
पुलिस में अगर ये कंप्लेंट होगी तो कंप्लेंट करेंगे, अगर पुलिस बयान ऐसे लेगी तो हम बयान देंगे।
क्यों नहीं लेंगे आपका बयान? क्यों नहीं लेंगे? सबका बयान तो ऑन रिकॉर्ड है ना।
आप लेटर लिख के भेज दीजिए।
भेजेंगे जरूर।
The police has made a mockery of the investigation, Niranjan.
No, these are very
Can't we
serious.
see that?
These are very serious allegations. He's saying he's witnessed 2 instances himself.
How can we even try and present his side of the story? You know, how can we even try and defend a man like Bhushan Charan Singh? No?
That is
it
what
is
I'm
very,
saying.
very.
These are very serious
It is
allegations.
disgusting and shameful. मतलब एक कहावत सुनी थी, कानून के हाथ लंबे होते हैं, और दूसरी बात है कि भाई सरदार के हाथ कानून से भी लंबे होते हैं, ऐसा लगता है यार।
Piyush, nobody is defending him. Let me tell you one thing. I told you in the beginning of the debate, I told you nobody is defending him. He deserves punishment, and this protest is legitimate. But some people are trying to push their own motivation.
Some people are trying to, and some people are trying to create a narrative as well. No, from the other side.
What
so
narrative?
Both the things are happening. What narrative are
Let me ask him. Let me ask him.
The father of the minor would have been lying. You know.
Let me ask Jagbir Singh ji.
Narrative. He could have been intimidated. No.
Jagbir Singh ji.
Just deal with it.
Let me ask him. No,
go and arrest that man.
Piyush, you and me debate every day. Let me ask him. Let everybody hear him. Savvy also wants to come in. Jagbir Singh ji, ये देखिए, ये जो एक माइनर रेसलर था, ये माइनर रेसलर के पिताजी ने के फादर ने अभी विड्रॉ की है एक कंप्लेंट, और उन्होंने ये बोला है कि उन्होंने इसलिए कंप्लेंट किया था क्योंकि उनको रिवेंज लेना था। उन्होंने बोला है कि वो फॉल्स सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट कंप्लेंट किया था बृजभूषण सिंह सरन के ऊपर, और उन्होंने ये भी बोला था कि मुझे रिवेंज लेना था क्योंकि मेरी बेटी ने एक कुश्ती में हारी थी। उन्होंने बोला कि आई वांटेड टू टेक रिवेंज, माय डॉटर लॉस्ट। आपको इसके बारे में क्या बोलना है? क्या आपको लगता है कि कई
ये मुझे नहीं पता कि कौन माइनर बच्ची है, कहाँ की है, किसकी बच्ची है, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता। उस बच्ची के बारे में मैं कुछ नहीं जानता।
मैं ये आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूं, इफ दिस हैज बीन हैपनिंग फॉर सेवरल इयर्स, और आप जो बोल रहे हैं कि ये 10 साल से ज्यादा टाइम से हो रहा है, करेक्ट? सो 10 साल से क्यों कोई बात नहीं की अभी तक? और आपने खुद कुछ विटनेस की है, तो आपका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी बनता है ना ऑफिशियली कंप्लेन करने का। आप तो इंटरनेशनल रेफरी है
जी,
तो 10 साल में आपने क्यों नहीं किया कंप्लेन?
अभी हमें तो कानून का पता ही नहीं था कि ऐसे हो सकता है।
सर, आप तो रेफरी है, आपको कानून कैसे पता नहीं होगा? आप तो इंटरनेशनल रेफरी है, तो आपको कानून कैसे पता नहीं होगा?
तो कानून का पता थोड़ी चलता है। हमने तो भाई प्रेसिडेंट और सेक्रेटरी दोनों वहां पे मौजूद थे।
क्या उनको पता था इसके बारे में?
प्रेसिडेंट खुद करने वाला खुद है। अब प्रेसिडेंट की गलती करे तो शिकायत किससे करें? कभी किसी खेल मंत्री ने, कभी किसी अधिकारी ने पूछा नहीं हमारे से।
कितने लोग विटनेस थे? कितने लोग विटनेस होंगे? आप जो 2 इंसिडेंट के बारे में बात की है, कितने लोग विटनेस होंगे?
पूरी महिला टीम थी वहां पे, पूरी ग्रिकरो अपने फ्री स्टाइल की टीम थी वहां पे। पूरा जो पुकेट में 2013 में दल गया था, 30 से ऊपर आदमियों का दल था, वो सारा दल था वहां पे।
ऐसा ये अभी ना पीयूष जोशी जी हमारे साथ है, वो आपके सपोर्टर है। वो बोल रहे कि एक नैरेटिव बिल्डिंग का एक्सरसाइज भी हो रहा है दूसरी तरफ से। मैं आपको ये पूछना चाहता हूं, लेट मी ब्रिंग ऑल द पैनलिस्ट बैक। यू नो Savio, it's okay for Mr. Jagbir Singh ji to give this interview and make these revelations, but will it really stand in the court of law? Of course it won't, because he's not even on record. Do you think he should go and file a complaint?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you think he should file? Because if this is happening for 10 years and he's saying he's witnessed it himself,
he should file.
I'm finding it difficult that for 10 years he knew it. Why didn't anybody come forward if he saw it?
You see,
if he saw it, why didn't he come forward?
No, Niranjan, let's 1 second, Niranjan, 1 minute. Having been somebody who has fought many sexual abuse cases, and we have done it together as well, like in the Bishop Franco case, Mulakil's case, please understand that a person in power, any person below that person in power, always has a problem going ahead with the case. Like this gentleman, We might want and coax him and extol him to go forward and file the complaint, but many of them don't do that, which is why it is important for the police at every step and every stage to take cognizance of a complaint, because whether that complaint is false or whether the complaint is a truth, what is important is the investigation. So right now, all of us are groping in the dark. There is one set of people who are baying for Brij Bhushan's blood. There's another set of people who are saying that, hey, listen, maybe this guy might not be as he's accused of. But the fact is, why was the investigation not conducted? If the investigation is conducted, people will have confidence. People don't have confidence in the law or in the police to take cases of sexual abuse. That's the reality in India. And that is what you're seeing played out, because this gentleman was aware of an act which happened, but he did not have the courage to talk about it. He's talking today on television, and he should feel a little sad because he did not have the courage, because he could have saved a lot more girls if he was aware of it.
सर आप क्यों
नहीं the courage to go ahead and tell the police or tell somebody?
जगबीर सिंह जी अभी देखिए, अभी चार्जशीट के लिए 5 दिन है, चार्जशीट फाइल करने के लिए 5 दिन है. I'm getting all the panelists back. चार्जशीट फाइल करने के लिए 5 दिन है. सुब्राष्टा इज हियर, पीयूष इज हियर, बृंदा अड़िगे सब है हमारे साथ. हम ये नहीं बोल रहे कि रेसलर्स झूठ बोल रहे हैं. नो, वी आर सेइंग दे शुड बी जस्टिस फॉर द रेसलर्स. उनको जस्टिस मिलना चाहिए. लेकिन आप जो ये बोल रहे, this becomes a very key testimony, because I also have other testimonies here. For example, right, Subrashta, I have all the allegations that the women athletes traveled only in groups when they left their rooms because they didn't want to run into the accused Brij Bhushan Singh Sharan, which is what he's also collating. He's actually backing this claim of the wrestler, saying that they were really scared to even confront him or come face to face with him. Secondly, allegations of sexual favors.
हिंदी में मैं अंग्रेजी नहीं समझता.
हाँ जी नहीं, मैं बोल रहा हूँ जो कंप्लेंट है, कंप्लेंट के बारे में बता रहा हूँ कि क्या क्या कंप्लेंट है उनके ऊपर.
जी.
Allegations of sexual favors, allegations of groping, and that he asked for sexual favors. Now it's all detailed, right? Several wrestlers have come forward. मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि अगर 5 दिन है चार्जशीट फाइल करने के लिए,
जी,
आप कहाँ पे है अभी? आपका लोकेशन क्या है?
मैं दिल्ली में हूँ.
तो आप दिल्ली में जाके पुलिस स्टेशन में क्यों नहीं दर्ज करते आप एक कंप्लेंट कि आप आई विटनेस है, आपने ये देखा है 10 साल से?
चलो, मैंने आई विटनेस का एक गवाही तो 25 मार्च वाले 2022 वाले प्रकरण में दे दी, और अगर एप्लीकेशन से अगर और कुछ लेना चाहेंगे तो मैं दे दूंगा, एप्लीकेशन दे दूंगा.
So the ball is in the police's court.
Yeah. Do you think they've bungled up? Subrashta, the Delhi police?
Absolutely.
With so many eyewitness accounts coming forward.
But that is exactly what I'm saying.
Of course, Niranjan,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Delhi police has done I'm not going to say that the Delhi police has done an absolutely professional job. For sure, it has not. But look at the confession of the referee right here. If you ask him why didn't he go to the police earlier on, he says that he didn't know about the law. I mean, forget about the law. When you see, मैं हिंदी में बोलती हूँ ताकि इनको समझ आए, जब आपके सामने इतनी सारी बच्चियों का शोषण हो रहा था और आप एक जिम्मेवार पद पर थे, तो आपने अपनी आवाज़ तब क्यों नहीं उठाई? बच्चियों के साथ तो मैं समझ सकती हूँ कि उन्होंने आवाज़ इसलिए नहीं उठाई क्योंकि उनको सामाजिक प्रेशर था, उनको डर था कि वो समाज में कैसे अपना मुंह दिखा पाएंगी, या 10 तरीके की बातें होती हैं लड़कियों के साथ. आपने आवाज़ क्यों नहीं उठाई? और इतने सालों के बाद आपकी निद्रा और तंद्रा आज क्यों टूटी है?
इस देश का कानून ये कहता है किसी लड़की के विषय में कोई बात उठाएगा तो उल्टी लड़की कंप्लेंट करने वाले को हमारे जैसे आवाज उठाने वाले को बोल देंगे, उसके घर वाले बोल देंगे. क्या आपने हमारी लड़की की आवाज उठाने की क्या जरूरत थी?
सर, आपकी जिम्मेदारी भी बनती है ना सर. सर, आप रेफरी है.
तो फिर आप रेफरी हैं किस बात के?
आप रेफरी है सर, आपका जिम्मेदारी भी बनती है ना.
जिम्मेवार पोजीशन पर है क्यों?
रेफरी में कुश्ती करवाने का हूँ. अब मेरे से कोई सवाल पूछा गया तो मैंने जवाब दिया. मैं कोई अपने आप बताने नहीं गया किसी को.
तो फिर आपसे फिर जिस तरीके से आप अपनी जिम्मेवारी से हाथ धो रहे हैं और जिस तरीके से आप बात कर रहे हैं, उसी तरीके से सवाल लड़कियों से आज पूछे जा रहे हैं कि फिर इतने साल से आप चुप क्यों थी? ये आप लोगों नहीं, मैं बता दूं, मैं फिर से कह दूं, आप जैसे लोग ही हैं जिनकी वजह से ये मूवमेंट वीक हो रहा है। आप जैसे ही लोग हैं जिनकी वजह से आज समाज में गुंडों को प्रश्रय मिलता है। आप सीधा क्यों नहीं कहते? आप सीधा क्यों नहीं कहते कि आप ब्रजभूषण
देश पे माता पिता किसी लड़की के बारे में हम बोल दे?
आप ऐसा क्यों नहीं कहते कि आप ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह से डरे हुए हैं? आप जानते हैं कि वो एक बाहुबली है, आप जानते हैं कि उनकी समाज में एक साख है, और आज जब आपको लगा है कि लड़कियां आवाज उठा रही हैं और इतने लंबे समय तक उन्होंने अपनी लड़ाई लड़ी है, तो आज आप अपनी राजनीति साधना चाहते हैं और इसीलिए आप सामने आए हैं। आप साफ आकर कहिए ये बात, क्योंकि इसका दूसरा ऑल्टरनेटिव, दूसरा नैरेटिव हो ही नहीं सकता।
आप राजनीति साध रहे होंगे।
हाँ जी,
हमने राजनीति से क्या मतलब? हमारे से किसी पत्रकार बंधु ने जिसने भी कोई चीज पूछी तो हमने बताया उनको।
Yes, Brinda.
Please come in, Niranjan.
Yes. If you can please speak in Hindi. If you can try.
No, my Hindi is not great.
Try.
हाँ, रेफरी जी, आप ये भी समझते हैं कि अगर आपने कंप्लेन किया होता तो आपकी जो वहाँ पोजीशन थी वो भी चली जाती थी, क्योंकि ये ब्रिजभूषण शरण सिंह तो बहुत ही ताकतवर है, राजनीति का पावर है उसके पास।
हम हमेशा अपने फैसले पे स्टिक रहे हैं, हमारे फैसले में कभी कोई पीछे मुड़कर नहीं देखा। लेकिन इस महिलाओं के मामले में जब लड़कियों ने आवाज उठाई है तो हमने उनका साथ दिया है। हम किसको बताने जाते?
यस, आप किसको बताने जाओगे, क्योंकि वहां पे आईसी भी नहीं है और कोई ऐसा मेथड भी नहीं है कि जहां आप कंप्लेन कर सको। और आपने पहले भी बता दिया कि ये तो चीफ है, इसके खिलाफ किसके पास आप कंप्लेन करोगे?
Yes.
So one moment. The impunity of Charan Singh, Brijbhushan Charan Singh is not being questioned here. We are questioning this man's ignorance, that how did you not know? Why did you not know? Are you not the referee? Will we ask the same question to Brijbhushan Charan Singh? How dare you do something like this?
Who are you saying that to?
I am feeling very sad for the father of the minor. Which father in my country will come? One moment, madam, I did not disturb you. Give me a minute. He was there to make a complaint that his daughter experienced some form of sexual abuse and assault. Today the same father comes and says, I said it because I wanted to take revenge, because she did not get a post. Can you imagine the threat? Can you imagine the scare? Can you imagine what he is going through, what his family is going through?
No, but you can't justify a fake complaint.
He has put it up on
I think,
the
Brinda, but you can't justify a fake complaint. You can't justify a fake complaint. If it was a fake complaint,
Nobody's justifying the fake complaint. I am saying, how many fathers you know will come and make a fake complaint?
Abhishek, can I come in?
There is an attempt to discredit this referee here. People have spoken.
Nobody is discrediting the referee. I'm saying it's very serious.
अरे बाबा सीधे बोला कि राजनीति चमकाने के लिए कर रहे हैं, इससे ज्यादा एलिगेशन क्या लगाएंगे सुब्राष्ट्रा?
Are you talking to Subrashta? Who are you speaking to?
Rewind your own show.
No, who are you speaking to?
Rewind your own show and see for yourself.
No, Niranjan, I
yes,
don't understand.
Subrashta is responding to you.
The problem.
What you don't understand? You are trying to intimidate this person who's come forward now. What are you talking about?
Is exactly this.
You are trying to intimidate a person who has come up with a complaint now, who has come up with a point of view now.
Can I please have my say?
This is the main thing. This is the commonplace occurring every day in this country. कमजोर आदमी ताकतवर के खिलाफ आवाज उठाने से डरता है। आज वो आवाज उठा रहे तो आप उनको बोल रहे हो कि वो राजनीति चमकाने के लिए आए हैं यहाँ पे।
क्या मेरा आपका नाम अगर सुब्राष्ट्रा है तो आप बोलिए।
Be human. अरे मैडम ठीक है, आपने बोल दिया, आपने उनको डराने की कोशिश की, आपको डराने नहीं दिया जाएगा किसी को भी, आप ये बात ध्यान रखिएगा। आप किस तरीके से be human for once यार?
What nonsense are you talking? किसको डराने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ मैं? किसको डराने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ मैं? मैं कोई बकवास सुन लूंगी क्या आपकी मैं?
What nonsense are you
talking about? You know, people like you and Brinda are the real reason why nobody will stand up with protesters tomorrow. People like you and Brinda who are trying to use sophistry, who are trying to use lies and manipulation to set up an entire narrative right here, right now. How dare you say that we are standing with Brijbhushan? How dare you?
Will you question
How dare you say that? Who is standing with Brijbhushan? People like you are standing with rapists. People people like you. People
But
like
you know,
you
people
are
like
trying
you
to.
because
No, madam, listen. You have been throughout the program. What you have done is you have tried to justify somebody being quiet about molestation and sexual harassment in this country.
Support the referee.
How dare you say that the referee
No, 1 minute, 1 minute.
These kind of issues.
1 minute, 1 minute. I'm just settling
Who
this.
is
1
trying
minute.
to support Brij Bhushan?
No, 1 minute. Nobody.
Hello,
1 second.
madam,
1 second. I
hello.
think we're getting a little lost here. I think we're getting a little lost. 1 minute. Subrashta, I'll let you complete. But I just want to put it on record. I think what the referee is saying is extremely serious. He should go on record. He should complain to the police officially if he's been a witness, especially in 2 incidents. It is very serious. Like I said, I've just told you. I've repeated the charges. But 1 second. Nobody is backing Brij Bhushan. Nobody in this debate is backing Brij Bhushan. I haven't heard Subrashta backing Brij Bhushan. She is asking the referee, sir, why didn't you file a complaint earlier? And she will argue her point out with you, Brinda. I will leave it to her to argue her point out with you. Subrashta, you were saying something to Brinda. Please complete.
Yes, please do.
No, Niranjan, the point is very simple. Today, when this referee has come out in the open to say such things, people like Brinda, who have been singing praise of these wrestlers, and she should, that they are brave enough to come out and talk about this molestation and this harassment, instead of trying to augment his spirit, she is trying to say that अरे आप तो सिस्टम के विक्टिम थे भाई, आप कैसे आवाज उठा सकते थे, इतना रसूख वाला आदमी था। ये बृंदा जैसी औरतें हैं जिनकी वजह से औरतों का मूवमेंट कमजोर होता है। अगर कोई पुरुष आज औरतों के पक्ष में खड़ा होने वाला है, वो उनको भी विक्टिम बना रही हैं। अरे मैडम रहने दीजिए, आप लोग केवल और केवल विक्टिमहुड को एक एटीएम कार्ड की तरह यूज करते हैं।
He is coming today because your channel, Niranjan, thanks to your channel,
Brinda,
he has got the courage and the guts to come forward.
He just said that he was trying to save his job. आप उसको एक और नैरेटिव बनाने का प्रयास कर रही हैं।
I am doing no narrative.
You are trying to glorify.
I am not doing any narrative. Whether it was the referee or all other referees, everybody will be there scared because we know what kind of a bahubali this Brij Bhushan Charan Singh is. When the police, the Delhi police could not file a complaint, you are just harassing a referee. You cannot harass the Delhi police. Why you didn't file FIR? क्या कर रहे हैं आप? क्या कर रहे हैं?
आप सिस्टम के विक्टिम कैसे हो गए ये?
अरे आप भी सिस्टम के विक्टिम ही हैं।
बना दिया जाता है क्या?
नहीं आप ही हैं, हम नहीं हैं। We are not victims, we are survivors.
पुरुषों को unnecessary का विक्टिम बनाना बंद कीजिए।
The referee is a survivor and support him through your channel to say go and make your statement. We will stand by you.
Protest, madam. First get your facts right and get your cabal to get the facts right.
My facts are fine. You get your narrative correct.
I'm not trying to blame the wrestlers.
No, I think these are very serious charges.
Narrative नहीं चुनूंगी, and you are nobody to tell me what I should believe in.
And same to you, though you are nobody to tell me what my narrative is. Twisting your own mindset.
I can see through the propaganda that you are trying to push, and nobody is going to stand up with people like you. And because of people like you,
Jagbir Singh ji.
Between you and me.
Okay, Jagbir Singh ji, can you have the last word? Can you have the last word? The referee wants to have the last word. No, the referee wants to have the last word. Jagbir Singh ji.
बताइए।
अरे बोलिए। आपका सिर्फ एक रिक्वेस्ट है, सभी जो पैनलिस्ट है इस शो पे, सिर्फ एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप जाके ऑफिशियली कंप्लेंट कीजिए और आप बताइए कि आपने खुद क्या देखा है 10 साल से, बस उतना ही।
ठीक है, जरूर जाऊंगा मैं कल।
बोलिए कि ये चैनल
कल मैं जरूर पुलिस स्टेशन जाऊंगा।
हाँ जी, ओके, ऑन दैट नोट
जरूर जाऊंगा। और बताइए,
हम मिलेंगे कब? आपसे बात करेंगे कल। विल फॉलो दिस अप। हम आपसे बात करेंगे कल। एक और बार बात करेंगे, ओके? और हमारा आशा है कि आप जाके ऑफिशियली कंप्लेंट कीजिए, नहीं तो ये क्लेम करके कुछ नहीं फायदा होगा। अगर ये ऑफिशियली कंप्लेंट नहीं किया है, आप प्लीज करवा लीजिए। आप
कोई ऑफिशियली कंप्लेंट नहीं की है, कल मैं थाने में जरूर जाऊंगा, अपने हाथ से एप्लीकेशन लिख के।
Assurance from the referee, Jagbir Singh, international referee and eyewitness, saying that he will go to the police and file a complaint. We'll follow up on that tomorrow. Subrashta, Deshwata Nigam, Savio, Kapil, Brinda, and Dr. Piyush Joshi. Thank you very much for joining us on the debate. And we have Abhishek coming up with that big debate from Karnataka. There's a government change. The Congress is in. The first thing that a government that comes in tries to do, revoke the hijab ban, revoke the ban on cow slaughter, and now they want to change the syllabus and remove subjects, chapters on revolutionaries that don't suit their ideology. It's happening in Karnataka. That's the debate next. Stay tuned.
Amity School of Communication has been ranked among India's top 5 mass comm institutes for the last 3 years by India Today, a testimony to its most high-tech studios, senior professionals as faculty, and placements in leading media organizations. To apply, visit amity.edu.
6 years of this journey at Republic has been spectacular, and now that you're going digital, I'm sure you will disrupt this industry and become the front runner in all things digital news in India. I wish Republic the best of luck, and I'm sure you guys will kill it here.
Republic Media is entering into digital platform for the very first time in July. After doing pioneering work in mainstream media, digital, which is the way forward of this generation, I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital. I really look forward to the now familiar Republic agility when it comes to reporting the news, in-depth analysis, as well as investigative reportage, and of course, your famous debates with Arnab. It's going to be exciting days ahead, and I'm sure you're all ready for it. And we, the viewers, are ready to see what you've got for us. So all the best, Republic, on going digital.
I was delighted to learn that Republic TV is going digital this July. They have made nationalism and patriotism so very popular with the people of India. But I'm sure in the times to come, they will also transform the narrative at the regional and the global level. I wish Republic TV all the very best. Jai Hind!
6 years of this journey at Republic has been spectacular, and now that you're going digital, I'm sure you will disrupt this industry and become the front runner in all things digital news in India. I wish Republic the best of luck, and I'm sure you guys will kill it here.
Republic Media is entering into digital platform for the very first time in July. After doing pioneering work in mainstream media, digital, which is the way forward of this generation, I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital. I really look forward to the now familiar Republic agility when it comes to reporting the news, in-depth analysis, as well as investigative reportage, and of course, your famous debates with Arnab. It's going to be exciting days ahead, and I'm sure you're all ready for it. And we, the viewers, are ready to see what you've got for us. So all the best, Republic, on going digital.
I was delighted to learn that Republic TV is going digital this July. They have made nationalism and patriotism so very popular with the people of India. But I'm sure in the times to come, they will also transform the narrative at the regional and the global level. I wish Republic TV all the very best. Jai Hind!
From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
The debate at 10, powered by Reva University and Kitply, co-powered by IIHM.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The debate on wrestlers' protest is going to get bigger tomorrow, essentially because of what you saw in the first half of this conversation when Niranjan was moderating, with the witness coming out and saying that they would be going back to the courts. But then we have another one discussing another important conversation to have now, which is on Karnataka. It's been less than a month since the Vadra Congress came to power in Karnataka, and now the primary and secondary education minister of the state has declared that revision of school textbooks will be done this year itself. Reports say they want chapters on Hedgewar out of the books. Question is, why? What's the priority? What's with the textbook politics? Take a look, and then I come back to discuss.
Less than a month into coming to power, the Vadra Congress wants to revise textbooks.
Whatever changes have been done, I have been telling from the first day, I have a job that is in the interest of children. BJP are so corrupt in their mind, which they wanted to infuse in the system of studies, which we are against it.
They claim to be undoing the saffronization of the syllabus.
ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಕೇಸರೀಕರಣ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂಥ ಇವರು ಏನು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಸಾಬೀತು ಮಾಡಲಿ. ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೋರಿದಂಥ ಈ ನಕಲಿ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಮಾನ್ಯತೆ ನೀಡಲಿದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Reports allege removal of chapters on the RSS founder, modification in chapters on reformer by Savarna, and alteration in content on Rashtrakavi Kuvempu. The BJP is coming down heavily.
I seldom respond to Congress's antics and news gathering tactics or attention gathering tactics. They have a long history of trying to rewrite history. Lekin to deprive the students and youth of India about what is the history of India, what is the truth about the people who have made India what they are, is I think doing a disservice to the younger generation of Indians.
They allege it is a diversionary tactic from the failure to govern.
Even in the education, they are making vote bank politics. Congress is unable to do because of the false promises which are done at the time of election and which is unable to fulfill the promises. Now they want to see that it will be diverted.
Fact is, the Congress is facing mounting pressure to deliver on freebies it promised.
We believe that people have voted for the Congress because of certain promises they made. Now, if they don't deliver on those promises, we will hold them accountable. We hope that they will learn and that they will change their tactics. If they don't, we will only increase, let me say, intensity of our protest.
Has the Vadra Congress government got its priorities wrong? Let's debate.
All right, welcome back again, and joining me to discuss this, Dr. Sudha Halkai, BJP spokesperson, joining us live from Bengaluru. We have Rashmi Samant, activist, live from Bengaluru. Obviously, it's an issue of Karnataka. We have Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, joining us live from Chennai. And let me begin with Shyam Prasad Meka. He represents the Congress party on this panel. Mr. Meka, what's with these priorities? It's been just a month. You have not been able to sort out the issue of free pass to women to travel in the bus. You have not been able to sort out the issue of free electricity, 200 units. You are still struggling to find a way out. And now this revision of textbooks, which have already been distributed to children, by the way.
Abhishek, I don't know why this is such an issue for a prime time on a national TV. Syllabus is being reviewed, and if there is too much syllabus, that's being corrected. And I don't see any reason why actually Mr. Hegdewar should be on the textbooks. And let me tell you, having said that, Hegdewar or Savarkar or Gandhiji or Subhash Chandra Bose, I don't think I remember any of that from my school. Yeah, it is there in school, but I didn't let myself to be fooled by that. I read their books. I understood them later on. And
what are you saying? Textbooks are meant to fool? Are you suggesting textbooks are meant to fool?
Abhishek, I'm saying if somebody is tampering with the syllabus with an ideological intent, then that's fooling. Be it anybody.
Okay.
Students
you mean to say only the Hegdewar bit is about ideology, rest of the stuff is fine? Or can you give me a couple of more examples of what review or revision you would carry out?
No, that's what I'm saying. Children are not our guinea pigs in our ideological lab. Let's read the history. Let's evoke curiosity and trust our children to grow up and study stuff. That's what I did. I'm not a victim to anything that these ideologues try to put in my brain, right? So that's the thing. So now
that actually, Mr. Meka, then underscores an ideological squint with which you are perhaps looking at this review, because only Hegdewar is the target, it seems, because that's the only thing that has been leaked about the review or revision, nothing else.
I'll tell you. See, Mr. Hegdewar is a personality to be studied, no question about it, but it's not for the children. That's my personal opinion, okay? I don't know what prompted
why it's not for the children? I think he only spoke about patriotism. I mean, all his speeches are about getting independence. And the bit in Karnataka textbook, class 10 textbook, is about him talking on nation, on patriotism. I mean, what's wrong with that if children read it?
Okay, let me tell you. No, I don't remember stuff from my school, okay? But later on, I read stuff. As far as my understanding goes on, Mr. Hegdewar and other Hindu Mahasabha and RSS ideologues, they can't define nationalism. They have their own view of nationalism. By all means, let's study it. But that's not something to be put in the brains of
Mr. Meka, you're now getting into quicksand, because we thought...
No, I'm not. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let the quicksand take me in. I'm ready. But I am not going to budge from my position.
Let me take this to Sudha. Dr. Sudha Halkai then. Let me take this. You got your opening comments. Let me take this to Sudha Halkai. Sudha Halkai, number one, Mr. Meka says you are making a mountain out of a molehill. What's big deal about this review? What's big deal about this review? Two, he is saying that children should not be taught about Hegdewar because of a certain ideological view he had on nationalism.
It is not required. That's what I'm saying. It's not required.
Yeah. According to them, it is not required.
Okay, it's not required for children. Sudha Halkai, he's saying Hegdewar views on the nation and nationalism are not required for the children.
Yeah, what he means to say is the children of our country, the children of our state should not know the person who has founded RSS, Dr. Keshav Balram Hegdewar. He is one of the person, he is the founder of the largest organization, Hindu organization in the world. And this question was asked even in the BBC quiz, which is the largest organization. And it was told that it is RSS. So this thing should not be taught to the children of Karnataka or anywhere. But about Karl Marx, it should be taught. About the education system, which is got by Mekelle, it has to be taught, where Mekelle wrote to his father that, whatever education system is emphasized in India, it is going to make the Indians feel not proud about India, but in fact, they're going to be westernized with their culture, and although they'll have the color of the Indians, they'll be completely, oriented toward the Western culture. This should be told to the students of Karnataka, according to him. The letter written by Nehru to his sister, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, should be there in the syllabus. But about Hedgewar should not be told to the children because, they will have that, they'll imbibe the culture of Hindutva. They'll get more oriented towards Hindutva or Hindu Rashtra. This should not happen. This is what clearly on a national television they are saying. And this is when even Nehru told that, talking about Hindutva or Hinduism is communal and talking about Muslims is secular. This is what Congress has got the culture since then. And this is now they're carrying it. The culture is being carried till today. And many of the educationists, you can see, all were leftist. And Nehru was highly influenced by the leftist. He was leftist oriented. And even now the same thing is being carried by them. And openly they tell that.
Okay, let me take this to Sumant Raman.
What they're telling today.
Dr. Halka, you made your point. You've made your point. Let me take this to Sumant Raman. Sumant Raman, a certain view of history, a Congress view of history, with preponderance of Nehru Gandhis has been taught to us in history textbooks. You have the irony where it's okay to read Karl Marx, but not Keshav Baliram Hedgewar, who, by the way, Mr. Meka, was a congressman. He was a member of the Indian National Congress till he set up the RSS. But the question is to Sumant Raman. Sumant Raman, this is essentially about a skewed view of history with which you are comfortable and hence you want only that, to the exclusion of any other view of the independence struggle.
First of all, I think it's hugely ironic to see the BJP accuse anybody else of rewriting history, because that's all that they've been seeming to be doing for the last few years. I remember 2016 or 17 in Rajasthan, they decided to remove all references to Jawaharlal Nehru from the school's textbooks. This was when Vasundhara Raje government was in power in Rajasthan. Subsequently, recently what they have done with the NCERT textbooks. Even Mahatma Gandhi is facing a crisis when he will also be removed is a matter of time. Periodic table is being moved out. So I think it's a bit...
No, that's a wrong conjecture. Sumant Raman, please don't take liberty. That's not happening.
Sorry. It is being moved to a different class. 11th standard, not everybody studies that particular subject. Now the point very clearly is, as you sow, so shall you reap. I believe you must have heard this, biblical saying very often. So you have been doing something for years in locations where you have been in power, and all that the Congress is now doing is removing what you introduced a few years ago. They have not gone and done a full sanity check
since
of all
you quoted
the So I find it
Sumant Raman, since you quoted biblical text.
Yeah. So I find it ironic that
since you quoted a biblical text, as you sow, so shall you reap.
All India level, you want to do something, and then when Congress does changes to revert to what was
there is a national education policy, and by the way, the Congress party has said that they would scrap the national education policy in Karnataka. So is it a sovereign? Exactly what Sonia Gandhi said. Is it a sovereign nation or not part of India?
There is no. There are multiple.
There is a national education policy.
No. Tamil Nadu, for instance, my state does not adopt the new education policy. It has not adopted it. There are multiple states which have not adopted the new education policy. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. This whole issue of my way.
Because then you are saying that education, Sumant Raman, unfortunately, now I'm broadening the debate. Sumant Raman, unfortunately, it seems that everyone is okay turning education into a political football. That's really coming out of this. Rashmi
Samant,
been
a political football for very long.
Sumant Raman says that BJP started it, so let them face the music. Is that the argument, really? And what about the kids? 4 million of them in Karnataka who would be facing this again now of getting there. It's not just about Hedgewar. Hedgewar is the peg with which we are discussing the story, but it's about all these children getting to go back to their textbooks afresh after the changes that would be made over a period of months now?
Well, I'd like to make a few observations here. Firstly, I've heard a lot of personal stories and anecdotes on this panel. And I think as a very recent person to have graduated school, all the panelists present here, I'd like to say that school years are some of the most formative years. So maybe you do not remember, but for most people, this is what we remember, and this is something we carry on for the rest of our lives. And it is important to have a balanced study of different perspectives, different ideologies, which have played an important role in our society. Cancelling one side of the story and just pushing a Nehruvian Gandhian philosophy is not all right. It is not okay to have an education system that prefers one ideology over the other. It is important for students to be exposed to all ideologies in an equal sense so that they know the circumstances under which their great nation has evolved. Secondly, I think every state needs to adhere to the national education policy, because after we graduate from schools, we go on to study at undergraduate and postgraduate institutions across the country. That puts students from states that are not a part of a uniform syllabus at a back foot with respect to competing and with respect to performing well if they choose to go to an institutions in any other state in India. So I think every state, if they think that they prioritize the students, that they prioritize the education of their students, and if they want students from Karnataka and Tamil Nadu to do well, if they choose to study in different parts of India, then they really need to put aside their political shenanigans and they need to stick to the national education policy, because the future of this youth of this nation is not something to be gambled with for political mileage.
Good point.
That being said, I'd like to say that if you want to make changes, make it when you come to power at the center.
I would go to Mr. Meka, because the issue is of the Congress party doing something, but because the issue of a national education policy was brought in by Sumant Raman quickly. The point that Rashmi is making, I sort of agree with that you need to have a national curriculum framework. You need to have a national education policy which should be above political football.
No, I think that in hindsight, I think what she said is right. Children should be told all about the RSS, how, for large periods of time, it, was actually on the side of the British, and how Mr. Hedgewar...
RSS was there to form a Hindu Rashtra. It was not on the side of the British.
One second.
No, I will not accept this comment of yours.
One second.
No, let me just add. Sumant Raman. There is an error of fact, so I have to correct it.
During the Salt Satyagraha, 1 second.
You're politicizing this again?
The RSS...
No. Let the children be politicizing in all the aspects. Why you are misguiding? We have not removed all of the syllabus which is given by the Congress. Only one chapter, one syllabus, one chapter has been removed by the BJP.
Let me just quote something.
Wait. Did RSS join the Salt Satyagraha? Please answer the question, yes or no. Ask her to answer. Did the RSS organization join the Salt Satyagraha? Please answer, madam.
Don't confuse it, okay? Don't misguide it.
I'll come to you, Mr. Meka. I'll come to you.
Included in the syllabus of Dr. Keshav.
I'll come to you, Mr. Meka. Hold on.
Speak about it. Don't confuse.
Dr. Halkai, direct question to you from Sumant Raman. Respond, then I go to Mr. Meka.
No, see, what I will not accept. See, I'll tell you, Mr. Dr. Keshav Balram Hedgewar motive was to form a Hindu Rashtra, and this has not to be told to the children of Karnataka. How fair is it? Why you want to remove that chapter from the syllabus? You tell me now. And why this was not included in all the years of this year where you have written about Karl Marx and all the Britishers, and only Nehru's glorification was there, and only their syllabus is there. Only their syllabus is there in the only their
No.
Throughout here,
Sumant Raman, we know who has alliance with the Muslim League. By the way,
missing the very important point about education, about the youth of our nation.
Dr. Halkai, hold on. Sumant Raman, we know which party has alliance with the Muslim League, which party was given a secular clean sheet.
Did the RSS
which party gave secular clean sheet to Muslim League just last week? We know that. Sumant Raman, but hold on, Ms. Halkai, I have to. Sumant Raman, listen. This is unfair. Sumant Raman, listen. You see,
my question. What can
Dr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar was arrested on sedition charges and produced before a court, and he gave his own defense. You know, he was accused of sedition for making a speech, and then he said, I will give my own defense. Following which, the judge noted on August 5, 1921, after Keshav Baliram Hedgewar's defense was over, that his defense is even more seditious than his original speech. In his August 19 judgment, the judge ordered Hedgewar to give an undertaking in writing that he would not deliver his speeches again. Now, you see, that's some stricture, Sumant Raman, and that would have come from a patriot. Remember the kind of speeches that made the British so scared of
forming a Hindu
Keshav Baliram Hedgewar.
Hindustan is a crime for
When
these
did the
people.
RSS first raise the national flag? Which year was it? Come on, tell me. How many years after independence did the RSS raise the national flag? Come on, why don't you people answer these questions? You are not willing to answer.
Why are you diverting the topic? Why are
I
you
am not
diverting the topic?
diverting,
We are here
madam.
to
You
speak
must
about,
answer these
we are
fundamental
talking about
questions.
Dr. Keshav Hedgewar.
I think Sumant Raman, RSS has evolved, so has the Congress party, by the way. So, Mr. Meka, okay, let me take this to Mr. Meka. Okay, no, I'm taking you there. I'm taking to Mr. Meka. Pranab Mukherjee, India's former president. Was he a congressman or not, Mr. Meka?
He was a congressman throughout his life. So what? Well, how is that relevant to our subject
and
now?
when he visited the RSS headquarters in Nagpur, what did he say? He said,
Wait.
Dr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar was a great son of India.
Abhishek, everybody, including you, me, and all the panelists, we are all great sons and daughters of India. Okay, let's not get into that. Wait a minute, let's stick to the topic. So
then why
anybody,
target one son of India with such caprice?
I'll tell you. In the education system and children, be it by Congress or BJP or any other party, I oppose indoctrination. I support exposing children to various thoughts. That's what we need to do.
Then why you are opposing this thought then?
No, wait a minute, madam. Let me finish my train of thought. Don't jump down my throat, okay? See, we are not here to indoctrinate children with people flying out of the cellular jail on a bulbul. Okay?
It was his illusion that he's seeing India, he's seeing his Hindustan, for which he sacrificed his life. 14 years he spent in the jail with Sajai Kala Pani. That was his illusion that he's going to see the Hindustan sitting on a bird.
Flying on a bulbul.
He'll sit on a bulbul. You don't talk about him taking the suffering from the Britishers for the freedom of India. You are not talking about that.
The children with.
You are not talking about that. You are talking about him sitting on a bulbul. This shows this shows your respect for the freedom fighters.
Come on. See, let me tell you, be it Hedgewar,
he has expressed his feeling that, he has expressed his love towards his country, saying his Hindustan. Every time you people say that, he's sitting on a bulbul and going. Why you don't talk about his sacrifices? Why don't you talk about his pain?
Didn't he? I'll tell you. My grandfather sacrificed a lot for this country, and that
we are talking about
reflected in my life.
14 years he was in jail, who has experienced the Sajai Kala Pani.
So what?
What? So what? That doesn't mean he sacrificed
okay,
our country.
I think we are sort of hitting a stalemate.
Let us try to understand. There are millions of people who sacrificed their lives, and
not like Savarkar. We are not saying that people without sacrifices of so many millions of Indians, we have got this freedom. We are definitely freedom fighter, including my father was a freedom fighter.
Dr. Harkai, hold on. It's a bait. This is clickbait on the part of Mr. Meka. Dr. Harkai, hold on. You are falling for it.
This is not right.
Dr. Harkai, hold on. You are falling for it. Mr. Meka, we are not discussing Savarkar. Hold on.
We're discussing the youth of this nation that deserve a fair chance.
I think you baited Dr. Halkai. She bought.
Did he receive pension from British?
Okay, quickly, 30 seconds, then I go to Rashmi. Quickly.
No, okay. Wait.
Quickly. Hold on. Mr. Meka, complete your... Okay, Mr. Meka, complete 30 seconds, then I go to Rashmi.
Yes. Ask your other panelists to keep quiet, please. So now, there are millions of people who sacrificed.
Go ahead.
And the Gulamgiri se jail raha tha millions of, thousands of years ke liye. What about them? The Dalit Bahujans of this country were suppressed, oppressed, and were facing that, and still were the topmost patriots of this country. Why are we not talking about them? Who's Baliram Egdeva? Talk about the Dalit Bahujans of this country. Talk about the women of this country who sacrificed and Gulamgiri se chel raha hai. Abhi tak.
Mr. Mecca, I think you are. I would accuse you now of digressing and diverting this debate. You know,
I am
all the issues that you are mentioning, all the issues you are mentioning are not directly connected with what we are discussing today, which is about priorities of the new Karnataka government, duly elected, democratically elected Congress government of Karnataka. And by the way, it's been a month, Mr. Mecca, we have not yet heard a single word on the malfunctioning EVMs, by the way.
We haven't heard
Remember?
from Modi ji.
We have not heard a single word on the malfunctioning EVMs, by the way. But then let me take this to Rashmi. Rashmi has to be involved. Rashmi, you see, the announcement today was made by Madhu Bangarappa, the Minister for Education. He was also Vice President of the Manifesto Committee. The announcement today was actually part of the Congress Party's manifesto. Like all other poll promises, if an announcement has been made when the schools open about this promise also that has been made by the Congress Party as part of the manifesto based on which the Congress Party has won the election, Rashmi, one would say it's part of a democratic process which is panning out. The Congress Party made a promise, they've made an announcement, they will do it, irrespective of whatever time it takes. Like how do you grudge it? How do you disagree with it? It's part of the democratic process.
Well, Abhishek, we're talking about children here. Textbooks are a part of curriculum for students who are below 18. They're all minors. They're not voting. So the elders in the room need to take a better decision for them. They're not part of this mandate that was given to the Congress Party. What is best for them is for them to be able to compete on an equal footing with other students of other states, having read the same syllabus. Not toe the line of certain party and not be a part of the national education policy. This is not something that is going to benefit little children because they are not the ones going out and giving the mandate. They don't care. In fact, they don't have the right to vote. We are talking about such little children and we need to take a greater responsibility when it comes to their syllabus, their textbooks, because they're going to be an active part of our society tomorrow. So I think that is very important. And secondly, the gentleman from Congress needs to stop taking full credit for the independence movement. There are many people who have been associated with this movement, many stories which have been suppressed, many stories which have been told generation over generation in families. And taking this kind of credit is not all right. And New India will not accept this kind of cancel culture wherein certain stories are given a better platform compared to others.
Before I go to Mr. Mecca.
You need to stop taking full
you will get your right to respond. No, you will get your right to respond. You will get your right to respond. Dr. Halkai.
So you think the people of India will accept such things?
Dr. Halkai, the fact of the matter is, when the BJP carried out the changes or revision when it was in power, many of those changes had errors creeping in, which your government had to, amend. On the national poet Kuvempu being one, on Basavanna being another. You denied that those mistakes have happened, but those error of facts creeped in and then you had to change. My question is, can we do something so that children studying in class 8, class 9, class 10 are spared the vagaries of this kind of politics? Dr. Halkai.
See, I'll tell you, whatever changes were made by the BJP government, it was rectifying the wrong thing which was written in the textbooks. Okay, it was not, we didn't completely remove what was given by the Congress, but definitely we have made the changes. What was wrong message was conveyed to the students of the Karnataka. And we have from some chapters were revised from 5th standard to 9th standard because we felt that, the team of educationists who were not leftists with, both left and right were there. So they will not understand some chapters in the 5th standard, earlier stages of the classes. So they were posed in the 9th standard. That's it. So we have very well made an education system where we'll understand the children what age, what has to be taught. Other than that, nothing has been done. And one inclusion of one chapter of headgever is causing so much of pain to them. They are really panicking that, children of Karnataka will get into ideology of Hindutva. This shows their panicness.
Mr. Mecca, you get the last word because it's your party there and carrying out these changes. Mr. Mecca, can you promise that the children would be spared these frequent revisions and a certain finality can be provided to these changes and revisions that keep happening in the textbooks? Mr. Mecca, can they be above ideology? Can education stop being a political football?
Abhishek, I totally agree with you. Children should be spared of this ideology battles. And now let me resort to my right to respond.
All right.
Respected panelist has actually mentioned and said, asked me to stop taking entire credit for the Congress party. I don't know in which part of this conversation I took credit. I am saying everybody in this country fought for the freedom. Everybody in this country are fighting still to realize the constitution.
Yes, including Keshav Maniram Hedgewar, Mr. Mecca. And because Sumant Raman said, as you sow, so shall you reap. I would quote from our text, Asmin Sadi Idam Bhavati. This being that arises, and unfortunately, this cycle keeps going on. As I said, we have to spare our children this vagary of political footballing of education that's happening on that note. Thank you so much, Mr. Mecca, Mr. Sumant Raman, Rashmi Samant, and of course, Dr. Halkai for joining us. In fact, that's okay. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. We move on to the next debate, which is on Canada. It's been more than 24 hours that India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, spoke. And he said that what is happening in Canada has a broad pattern and that it does not only affect India-Canada relationship, but it singes Canada as well. And yet, more than 24 hours later, despite some condemnation coming in, Canada has not apologized for allowing a float celebrating the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. This is aberrant. Here is a report, and then I come back to discuss.
This float, prominently paraded on the streets of Brampton, Canada, has put the spotlight on Canada's Khalistan problem. Now, a Canadian lawmaker is urging the authorities to act on this morbid glorification of an assassination.
The Khalistan supporters in Canada have reached a new low. The float celebrated the assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, tolerating the glorification of violence and public promotion of hate goes against everything our country believes in. Khalistan supporters have crossed the line, and Canada should and must respond.
The Prime Minister of Canada, who interferes on farmers' protests on our soil, has not a word to say.
India today called in Canada's High Commissioner to complain about remarks that you made about the farmers' protests in that country. There's warnings that you've damaged relations between India and Canada. I'd like to get your response to that.
Canada will always stand up for the right of peaceful protest anywhere around the world, and we're pleased to see moves towards de-escalation and dialogue.
Canada's cops have acted with heavy hand on other issues. India has called out Canada.
The bigger issue involved is really the space that Canada has continuously, and we are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this.
But will there be a strict action beyond a shallow condemnation? Let's debate.
Friends, this is an important debate. This is an important conversation. This is an important topic to discuss. And that's why we have done this back to back yesterday and today as well. We are doing this. Joining me to discuss this, Terry Meluiski, former journalist, CBC, live from Ontario, Canada. We also have Suki Chahal, founder, the Khalsa Today, live from California. We have Sushant Sareen, senior fellow, ORF, live from Delhi. And let me begin with the former diplomat, live from Delhi, Deepak Vora. Very good evening to you all. Mr. Vora, it's been more than 24 hours since External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar really drew the red line and effectively said that this is clearly affecting India-Canada relationship. Not only that, it singes Canada. And yet, we have no official statement coming in from the Canadian side. I mean, this is really brazening it out.
Thank you very much, sir. Always a pleasure to be with you on your channel, and you have such wonderful people whose knowledge and experience is much greater than mine. So thank you. I intend to learn from them. In your report, you referred to a Khalistan problem in Canada. No, sir. Canada has a Trudeau problem. Why does Canada tolerate immigrants who spout venom against their home countries? Does it make white Canadians feel superior to those savages from the third and fourth and fifth world? Or is Canada a masochist that seems to enjoy scoring self-goals? I'm sorry. May I carry on, sir? The most recent
go ahead.
Okay. The most recent and disgusting display of Canada's insensitivity is this tableau glorifying the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Very bad taste. A disgusting display of political insanity, social lunacy. Sadly, the buffoon who masquerades as the Prime Minister of his country seems to have endorsed him. Sir, on issues like this, silence is not golden. It is most vile. What can he say? He seems to believe that at moments like this, it is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Canada will offer the hackneyed excuse of freedom of expression. It does not mean freedom to abuse. As the Canadian Prime Minister, that nattering nabob of negativism, said a word against the culprit, I would not expect him to. Although Sikhs constitute about 1% of the population of Canada, they wield political influence in several key constituencies. Sir, I would advise him to read the Adi Granth.
Okay.
Sir, let me complete. Reflect on this phrase, however saintly garb a man may wear, he cannot conceal his inward impurity. Let me remind you of 9/11. It damaged the image of Muslims around the world more than anything else that they could have done. And this incident will damage the image of people who wear turbans and who are proud citizens of India more than anything else could have done, sir.
Mr. Vora, you know, I could not have managed this poetic flourish, but then, Mr. Milewski, you would have got the sentiment. It's insensitive, it's disgusting. The silence is vile. What's happening really there in Ottawa, Mr. Milewski?
Well, if I may, there's one mistake that a lot of Indian people have been making in debating this affair, and that is that they think that it's just Trudeau. They think that it's just the Liberal government of Canada. I regret to inform you that as bad as you make it sound, it's actually worse, because all three main parties in Canada are complicit in this looking away, this ignoring of the celebration of terrorism that is evident in this display and in many others that precede it, in which all three parties have looked the other way. The Conservatives, the NDP, upon whose favour the current Liberal government depends. So, but yes, absolutely. I mean, this is an absolute disgrace to Canada, not just that this was allowed to occur, but that we are not seeing, absent the statement that you made from Chanda Arya that you reported a moment ago, we have not heard from the party leaderships. The only thing we've heard from Jagmeet Singh, who's propping up the Liberal government, by the way, upon whose favour the present Trudeau government depends. He tweeted the other day about Operation Blue Star on the anniversary. He tweeted the other day that this was a case of the Indian state massacring worshippers. He's asking us to believe that all those hundreds of gunmen, heavily armed, were in the Golden Temple because they were worshipping. Why did they need the guns then? So this kind of nonsense has prevailed not just recently, but for decades. I've been yelling about it for 20 years. Nobody listens to me, of course. Why should they? But they should listen now to the Indian government. And a second point I would like to make is that the Indian government needs to be a little bit more sophisticated in what its demands are. It should demand that if Canada wants a favoured nation status, if Canada wants a place in the market of India, a free trade agreement with India, then India demands that it will only deal with Canadian politicians who explicitly and loudly condemn
Sushant, there is Sushant, there is an admission of guilt, and yet we can't see any action happening. You think free trade agreement is something for which the Canadians or the Canadian government or the political establishment there is doing this? And if yes, how do we respond?
Look, I don't think Terry is guilty of anything. In fact, on the contrary, he is one person who has highlighted what has been happening in Canada with these Khalistanis more than anybody else, and he's had to pay a price for for telling the truth. So I think if anybody is guilty, it is the Canadian political system. But even more, and I hate to say this, but I will. I think it is important to point this out. The moment we will raise this issue with the Canadians at the official level, the Canadians will turn back and tell us, please look inside. In your Gurdwaras, your SGPC is lauding these terrorists. They have memorials for them. They are holding up their posters. Your SGPC chief and other members of the SGPC continue to peddle this revisionist lies of what happened in 1984 and subsequently. And that one sentence that Bhindranwale never mentioned Khalistan. Everything else, raping women, butchering women, defiling Harmandir Sahib, everything else was kosher. But he did not utter the word Khalistan. So he was perfectly fine. He was a sant. We have allowed this to happen in our own country. Tomorrow when the Canadians turn back and tell us, why are you allowing it? You are asking us, we are removed from you. Why are you allowing it in your country? Please tell me what our answer is going to be. We don't have an answer. We don't have legs to stand on this issue. And what we are doing is, in this desire to appease these goddamn Khalistanis, we are actually alienating all the other Sikhs. I take strong objection when we say, we are going to give a bad name to the Sikhs with what has happened. Sorry, we are not going to give a bad name to the Sikhs. The Sikhs have been the most loyal Indians of anybody else, right? So it's not about the Sikhs. The Sikhs are part of Mr. Vora, me. They are a part and parcel of my blood. They are my family, right? I have people in my family who are turbaned Sikhs. So it's not about Hindus and Sikhs. It's about the Khalistani scum who we have been pandering to, who we have been appeasing also. So I think it is high time the government of India, the government of Punjab looks in and empowers and strengthens the people who stand up against the Khalistanis rather than kowtowing to people like from the SGPC and some of these other groups who continue to, eulogize, who continue to laud, who continue to, iconize many of these terrorists. And I think that is, I don't think I will have any answer if a Canadian was to turn around and ask me this question. I have no answer. Terry is being very polite and not asking us these questions.
No, Sushant. No, Sushant, you are trying to turn the debate on its head. But let me put it this way. There is a history when it comes to Canada.
So imagine
there is a history in case of Canada which goes back to 1985.
One second, Abhishek. I am Terry. I am asking you this question. Please answer my question.
Yeah.
What are you doing about this in your own country?
And that doesn't justify what's happened in Ontario.
I think a lot has happened, Sushant. A lot has happened over the last few years specifically. No. Of course they are. I'm not justifying. I'm not in any manner condoning any indulgence with the Khalistanis, but I'm saying it has not happened over the last few years, Sushant. But the larger point is that in the case of Canada, there is a history going back to 1985, and somehow it seems that there is an institutional support for the Khalistani elements that they get in Canada, which, for example, they don't get in Australia. Remember, just this month, just on the 4th of this month, they wanted to hold a referendum, like in Brampton, so in Sydney, but they were not allowed. They went from place to place looking for somewhere where they could park their referendum and hold it. They were not allowed by the local administration there, but that indulgence is offered, proffered, given to them in Canada. That's the point.
Yeah, but it's also being given in Britain. It's also being given in the US. We have Mr. Sudhi with us. Ask him. It has happened in the US. It's been. Look, the point is not what is
Sushant, your frame is freezing.
In terms of the referendum and other these antics that these Khalistanis have been pulling off. I don't think that's the issue. I think, yes, like everybody else, I am extremely hurt that, an act of terrorism has been, has been eulogized in the way it has been. I don't think the Canadians would probably stand for something like this if supposing some Al-Qaeda supporters were to take out a float with, showing that 2 aircraft are coming and bringing down the Twin Towers. I don't think the Canadians would have allowed something like that. So how come they are allowing something like this?
Absolutely.
Yes, this question needs to be asked. Definitely needs to be asked. But all that I'm saying is, Sheikh, that we need to also look inside and see what we have been doing over the last many years on this particular issue. And we have been turning a blind eye. And we cannot absolve ourselves.
My only difference of opinion with you is, Sushant, that is this the right time to do that? We are doing it. It's a long-term project. We have been doing it. Last few years, a lot of things have happened on the Khalistani front.
We are not doing
a proof of which is, for example, just last month. By the way,
we have regressed from the 90s. What we managed to do in the 90s, we have regressed from there. So don't tell me we are actually fighting this menace. We are not fighting this menace. We are actually kowtowing to it. We have a party right now in Punjab which has been alleged to have been in bed with some of these Khalistani elements. There are very serious allegations against them.
Okay, Mr. Sukichel, what's the Khalsa view? What's the Khalsa view from where you are? You think that this is an indulgence which is very specific to Canada, and as Terry mentioned, there is a cross-party indulgence that's happening with the vote bank there, because of which this is happening. This is allowed to happen.
No, Sushantji has mentioned something very important, and also for Terry, because Terry had paid the heavy price and nobody backed him up, actually, so nobody stood by him, and his whole life, actually, he was fighting the solo bar. He was fighting the solo war on behalf of the mainstream Sikh community, democratic Sikh community. And the problem is, as Sushantji said, exactly, the problem is, obviously there's a problem on the Western side, but there's a problem also in-house, actually. So we have to take a look inside what is happening within in India. That is a serious question. And like this reminds me one share, हमको उनसे है वफा की उम्मीद जो नहीं जानते वफा चीज क्या है. Because these Canadian, you take a look actually what happened in Kamagata Maru, and it took so many years actually, so to apologize them actually. So what happened inside in Canada actually, they are not gonna listen to you actually, so they're not gonna apologize for everything. And for your information, on record I'm telling, and this float is coming, this is happening within US since 1915, even before 15, I am seeing by myself in USA. And tomorrow you're going to say actually to the US government, actually go ahead and apologize for that. That's not going to happen. Because
Mr. Voda,
it is hurting the Sikh community more than anything.
I was saying that there is a history that goes back to 1985.
So it is hurting me more.
Yeah,
because it is because I don't.
Mr. Voda, I was saying that there is a history that
I don't believe in promoting any violence, actually, because this kind of a glorification of violence is wrong, because it is sending the very wrong message about the Sikh
Mr. Chair,
because when we
that's the point that External Affairs Minister was making with that nuance of which only S. Jaishankar is capable of. He said that this can cinch Canada as well.
Sir,
this is accommodation
I don't think so. This is the government
this violent
issue.
thought
this is the issue
can cinch Canada as well. Mr. Voda, okay. Mr. Voda, yes, you have made your point. Mr. Voda, I was saying that there is a history in the case of Canada which goes back to 1985. Mr. Chahal corrected me. It actually goes back to Komagata Maru. And the whole idea that perhaps the British intelligence really infiltrated those elements post that incident and used them to manipulate the freedom struggle, not just in India, but in London, in Paris, in wherever our freedom fighters, the Ghadar movement was going on. But then that's history. In the present, what are the options really with us? Sushant says first fix your own problem, fix the SGPC, but that's a little long-term project. In the immediate, what do we do with the Canadians? Remember, when that extremely irresponsible comment was made by Justin Trudeau on India's farm laws. By the way, the farm laws would have done to Indian agriculture what the Canadians have already done for themselves decades back. And Justin Trudeau did not want those reforms to come in here. And then the Indian establishment really got back, snapped communication. And I remember when Justin Trudeau came with his wife and family on a visit to India, bilateral visit, in 5 days, he changed 6 or 7 kurtas just to show that, oh, he's so into Indian culture. But then that really did not cut much ice, I believe, with Raisina. But the point is, what do we do now with this kind of indulgence that we are seeing there, continuing indulgence that we are seeing in Ottawa?
So, when I was going to school in the United States, one of my favorite professors was a man called Robert Merton, and he proposed the law of unintended consequences, repercussions that you don't expect through a purposive action. This is what is going to happen. Canada is a funny nation, sir. Large country with a small population and an even smaller mind, sits at the G7 high table of rich democratic nations, has no right to be there. Now, sir, may I say something to you that a couple of years ago, I think it was a Chinese diplomat who referred to this Trudeau character as boy and said, you're a running dog of the Americans. And then that diplomat's boss buttonholed this character in Bali, I think, and scolded him for leaking their private conversation to the media. And when this chap lamely said, but we have freedom of the press, the guy said, you don't know how to behave. He's done that with Donald Trump, mocked him. The man has lost it. There are, I believe, 3 reasons for his behavior. One is commercial interest, second, local political requirements, possibly the most important, and then ignorance. What should we do? In diplomacy, we have what we call a graduated response, and Dr. S. Jaishankar has made that quite clear. For those who have been in diplomacy, like I have 50 years and counting, we understand. The first would be to punish them where it hurts, which is the stomach. Kick them. I would even go to the extent of saying that we should not encourage trade with Canada. They have very little to give us in any case that we don't have ourselves. That probably hurts them a lot. The second would be visa restrictions, to the extent that is possible. And the third would be to downgrade our political contact as much as we can. These free trade agreements and all that these guys keep touting, it's not going to work, not when they have this level of insensitivity. Now, if there are pictures of these characters who assassinated our former prime minister inside Gurdwaras, that's a different issue. But publicly displaying this adulation of terrorism, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. This is absolutely not acceptable. So I believe if we take this graduated response, we escalate it, we make it clear to the Canadians that this will not pass. It will not be business as usual. I believe we are going to do that, sir. You will see it in the coming weeks and months. That is how Indian diplomacy works. And Mr. Serene, with due respect, sir, we are the best in the world as far as diplomacy is concerned.
If I was allowed to be a little more provocative, please do, Terry.
Can I add one point to that as an example? India did, in one sense, wield a big stick against Canada in April of 2017, when Captain Amarinder Singh, then the Chief Minister of Punjab, of course, declared that he was not going to meet, he was going to refuse to meet a Canadian cabinet minister, Harjit Sajjan, on the grounds that he believed that Sajjan was a Khalistani sympathizer. And the Canadians promptly groveled. The Canadians caved and came up with a statement, oh, no. Sajjan said, we do not support Khalistan in any way. We support the unity of India, blah, blah, blah. And Captain Amarinder graciously accepted his victory. Thanked and congratulated Mr. Sajjan for his statement. And upon the occasion of Trudeau's ill-fated visit in 2018 to India, he did in fact meet with Harjit Sajjan, who's no longer the defense minister, by the way. But it's an example of if you stand up and you are strategic and sophisticated in your approach, it's not enough.
Yes.
What India has traditionally done is
saying we
bang
go
the table
beyond
and say,
that.
why
Sushant,
doesn't Canada lock
before I give the last word to Suki Chahal. Yes, before I give the last word to Suki Chahal, Sushant, can we be a little more provocative? For example, there is this advocacy group from Alberta which wants Alberta to be the 51st state of the United States. Would the Canadian government take kindly if, for example, we allowed the French-speaking Quebec separatist movement have an office in New Delhi? You think the Canadian government would like it if India invited Newfoundland and Labrador secessionists and asked them to hold rallies against the Trudeau government? Sushant, can we do that?
No, you can do whatever you want to do, but the problem is that it's good for polemics, but in terms of actual value, it has very little value. Simply because the movement in Quebec, it's a peculiarly Canadian kind of a thing. Where,
come on, let's do it.
Come
on, let's do it, Sushant.
No, 1 second. Yeah, just listen. Now, when they can open offices within Quebec and agitate for a referendum and separation within Quebec, then why do they need to open an office in India? If they ask to open an office in India, let them open an office in India. But it doesn't really add up to anything. Or any of the other things which you have said. I think the stuff which we can do is, there's a lot of diplomatic heft which we have, including with Canada, which can be deployed to actually make the point and get them to, start at least moving against some of these elements. Not giving them a free hand, not letting them, not letting them going and intimidating and bullying and hitting and beating up people. We can always do many things. So, for example, I'll give you just one example. They have a consulate in Chandigarh, right? You can ask them to shift it out of Chandigarh. You finish that consulate off, right? That's a very small thing, but it can be done.
Good idea.
There will be retaliation from their side. Let them retaliate. But I'm just giving it to you just as, I'm just throwing something on the table, which I think will be far more useful than talking about Quebec or Alberta or any of these other places. Nobody is asking us for our help. If somebody
I was trying to be provocative, Sushant, but then unfortunately I'm running out of time. There are many things, of course, we can do. The Chandigarh consulate is a good idea. We still have to get our take care of the 700 students that are there in Canada struggling because of a scam.
So the one thing
it seems we are not getting enough cooperation on that front as well.
The one thing that you don't do is ask for visas. Because the moment you get into this goddamn visa business, you've lost the game. So understand that. Now, if you are going to go to the Canadians and beg for visas, then don't have this program.
Yes.
That's
a national call, societal call we have to take. Suki Chair, last word to you. You think we still can do something there so that the establishment in Ottawa does not or stops seeing the 800,000 Sikhs in Canada as a monolithic vote bank?
The Sikh community, Punjabi community is here in US and Canada for more than 100 years. Very hardworking people, and they have a lot of contribution on the ground within the community. We cannot ignore their contribution to American society and also the Canadian society. But as Shushanti said, I 100% agree with him that India has to put his own house in order first. We cannot react on these small things, actually, so that also now the sky is falling.
All right, on that note, because that's going to be a long-term project, I would end this conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Deepak Vora, Sushant Sareen, Suki Chahal and Terry joining us from Ontario. Hashtag Canada Say Sorry. I think that's going to be a good beginning on that note. Thank you so much, friends, for joining us tonight. Tomorrow, Arnab is back with the debate. Monday, actually.
Amity School of Communication has been ranked among India's top 5 mass comm institutes for the last 3 years by India Today, a testimony to its most high-tech studios, senior professionals as faculty and placements in leading media organizations. To apply, visit amity.edu.
Republic Media is entering into digital platform for the very first time in July. After doing pioneering work in mainstream media, digital, which is the way forward of this generation, I am very excited to see how they will go forward on this journey. I'm sure you are too. So do join in and catch Republic Digital.
New media for a new India. Congratulations, Republic, on going digital.